from Western New York's Information Center. Channel 2 News at 6 starts now.
On a day the nation honors freedom fighters, a veteran from Western New York receives a high honor. We'll have more on a man who helped lead the Allies to victory on D-Day. Plus,
we have to come up with $2 billion in cuts, and I would hope they would put the people in front of politics.
some say state lawmakers are playing politics when it comes to budget cuts. We're holding the powerful accountable in this battle to fill a multi-billion-dollar budget hole.
From Storm Team 2, your forecast first tonight. Moonlit skies will get to the freezing mark. More sunshine tomorrow with a high of 48.
On a day when America pauses to recognize those who kept freedom free, a World War II veteran from Western New York is being honored by a fellow ally for his service. Good evening, I'm Mary Alice Demler.
And hello, everyone. I'm Scott Levin. 2 on your side's Marissa Bailey is here now with more on the 88-year-old man who was given this prestigious honor. Marissa?
Well, Scott and Mary Alice, D-Day, June 6, 1944, Grand Island native Joe Stefaniak parachuted onto the banks of France to help defend the country. 64 years later, French officials are giving Private First Class Stefaniak the highest military honor in France. A French consul awarded Joe the honor at a ceremony on Grand Island today. French President Nicolas Sarkozy even wrote a letter to Joe thanking him for his service. Joe was one of 160 paratroopers who dropped in on D-Day. Joe says he's thankful that he was honored today, but it's also bittersweet.
There's a lot of story behind that over there where they got massacred. It's rough to think back 60-some-odd years what you've done. A lot of it, you forget about it, and you'll want to forget about it.
I pledge allegiance.
Stefaniak says he suffers from flashbacks during his time overseas. Joe says if he had to pass along one piece of advice for those heading overseas now or who are heading overseas in the future, it would be to do your best to stay safe. Stefaniak was also awarded a Purple Heart for his time in France. Joe says the best part about today's honor is knowing that he helped to give freedom that all Americans enjoy today. Marissa Bailey, Channel 2 News.
Thank you, Marissa. And President Bush honored the nation's veterans by attending a ceremony at an historic military museum in downstate New York. Earlier today, the President and the First Lady attended a rededication ceremony at the Intrepid Sea, Air, and Space Museum in New York City. The USS Intrepid was an aircraft carrier launched in 1943, was involved in 6 major battles in the Pacific Ocean in World War II. During the ceremony, President Bush received the 2008 Intrepid Freedom Award for his leadership in promoting and defending the country's core beliefs.
Today we send a clear message to all who have worn the uniform. Thank you for your courage, thank you for your sacrifice, and thank you for standing up when your nation needed you most.
Here in Western New York, veterans who fought for freedom, past and present, were honored with taps and a wreath-laying ceremony at Forest Lawn Cemetery.
A girl whose mother and young brother were killed in a crash on snow-covered roads is in stable condition at Buffalo's Women and Children's Hospital. 3-year-old Rose Irwin was hurt in yesterday's accident on Route 20 in the Chautauqua County town of Portland. Her mother, Roberta, and brother, Grant, were killed. Investigators believe Roberta Irwin lost control of her car on a slippery road and hit another vehicle.
Also tonight, for months, we've heard from the governor about the deep budget hole that New York is now facing, and there's no doubt that cuts have to be made. But some say politics are seeping into this delicate debate. 2 on your side's Matt Pearl talked with a man who may soon lead the state Senate as we continue to hold people in power accountable.
Right now, the state budget is like a hot potato. The question is, who's going to be holding it in the end?
I've heard a disturbing rumor this morning that the Senate Republicans were indicating they may not come back, and I hope that's not true.
Malcolm A. Smith.
Malcolm Smith is expected to be majority leader when the Democrats take control of the state Senate in January. But that's 2 months away. 1 week away, the Republican-led Senate will meet in Albany with a proposed $2 billion in cuts from Governor Patterson on the table.
I know the governor is coming out with his recommendations tomorrow. We will review those, as well as try to come out with our recommendations shortly thereafter.
Several reports this week say current Majority Leader Dean Skelos might reject the governor's plan, choosing to let the Dems handle the problem when they take control. And look at this. A website started just yesterday by the New York Conference of Mayors warning about the dangers of raising taxes on local economies, complete with a blog by theoretical everyman Joe Taxpayer. Smith's recipe takes a middle ground.
Clearly, education and health care is something that becomes important. But I also think we have to deal with growing our economy as well. I don't think we can cut ourselves back to where we were 4 or 5 years ago.
And as for a potential Republican stalemate?
We have a budget crisis, there's no question. We have to come up with $2 billion in cuts. And I would hope they would put the people in front of politics and come back to work.
Now, Governor Patterson is holding a press conference to announce his recommendations tomorrow. Lawmakers will meet in Albany a week from today. And remember, if there's something you'd like us to hold people in power accountable about, send us an email by logging on to WGRZ.com. Matt Pearl, Channel 2 News.
We all know times are tough. A lot of people need help heating their homes this winter. Since they opened early this month, Home Energy Assistance Program centers across the state have seen high numbers of applicants come through their doors. According to the Associated Press, 3,000 people have come to the office in Buffalo alone. Experts say the surge in demand for home heating aid was expected due to the recent economic slump and fuel price spikes.
Also, a town of Lancaster lawmaker wants to put a stop to health insurance buybacks for his fellow board members. He says the board members should either take the town health insurance or leave it, but not be offered a cash payout as an alternative. As 2 on your side's Addie Bradshaw reports now, not everybody agrees that it's the best way to save taxpayers money.
Each year, Lancaster's town board members have two options. In addition to an $18,000 salary, members can take a health insurance package, or if they don't want or need it, a $6,700 cash buyback. Ron RUFFINO is one of 3 board members choosing the latter.
Was there ever a thought on your process of, I have my own insurance, I don't want to cost the town any more money, I'm not going to take the buyback either?
Right. I never thought of it that way because although I have health insurance through another source, I pay a pretty nice premium.
Yet Councilmember Dan Amatura disagrees with the practice. After taking the buyback himself for 3 years, he decided town code meant it as an option only for town employees, not part-time elected officers.
It was never meant to be as a buyout. It was meant to be that if the elected officials needed health insurance and they weren't able to get it from an outside source, or if they were getting it from an outside source at their own expense, it was offered to them to take.
Now the lone councilman using the town's insurance, not everyone believes it's fair. He's proposing an end to buybacks.
It would be very obvious that one board member would be getting the full health insurance of $13,400 and the others would get nothing.
Available by phone, Donna Stempniak said her solution involves doing away with benefits altogether, at least at taxpayers' expense. RUFFINO says he may agree.
If we cut out altogether and people do want the health insurance, the part-timers like ourselves, then they would have to pay for it themselves.
If they said, we're going to do away with health insurance for everyone unless you want to pay for it yourself, is that something you'd be willing to do?
That's fine. That's fine, as long as it's equal.
Town board members tabled Dan Amatura's proposal to end buybacks while each member researches their own solution. This issue could be taken up again next Monday. Addie Bradshaw, Channel 2 News.
Well, there is a lot of excitement surrounding UB's football program. Later in sports, more on how this hot team is preparing for a game that could put them in first place. Kev?
Well, a little good and bad news in the weather department, Mary Alice. Warm temperatures are on the way back, and so is the rain. I'll have your full forecast, of course, at the top of our weathercast at 6:17. And how many of you out there remember this man's voice?
Buffalo penalty to Rob Ray, 5 minutes for fighting. The time of the penalty, 7:44.
We heard that pretty often with Rob Ray, didn't we? Yeah, he's the voice hockey fans relied on for years for information about penalties and goals at the yard. We're going to take a look back at Sabres history with Milt Ellis as Western New York prepares to say farewell to Memorial Auditorium.
Countdown begins. We are just 99 days away from the transition to digital television. On February 17th, 2009, viewers who receive TV signals via an over-the-air antenna will need a digital converter box to watch local stations like Channel 2. Answers to all your questions about the DTV transition can be found on our website, WGRZ.com.
Finally arriving, huh?
Can't wait.
Yeah, well, for anybody who went to a Sabres game at Memorial Auditorium, his was the voice of the building.
Well, the team's former public address announcer, Milt Ellis, will be going into the team's Hall of Fame later this month. 2 on your side, Scott Brown sat down with the man who saw almost every Sabres game ever played at the Odd.
Buffalo goal scored by number 16, Pat LaFontaine, his 20th of the season.
Anyone who ever saw a Sabres game at the Odd will never forget that voice. Milt Ellis actually began his hockey career calling Buffalo Bison's games at the Odd in 1966. And when the Sabres entered the NHL 4 years later, Milt did too.
Buffalo goal scored by number 11, Gilles Perreault. Assist number 7, Rick Martin.
He called over 1,000 games during the Sabres' 26 seasons at Maine and Terrace, and he always had the best seat in the house for every one of them, right between the penalty boxes.
The Odd was cozy. It was convenient. It was like a second home. Being there for almost 30 years, I knew my way around that place.
In all the games you did at the Odd, what was the most exciting for you?
Without a doubt, the game against New Jersey, that went into 4 overtimes. And the score was 0-0 until that one goal was scored. It was scored by Dave Hannon, something like 1 o'clock in the morning. To me, that was the height of excitement.
And now introducing the Buffalo Sabres.
Another exciting time, the Sabres series against the hated Russian team.
When the Sabres played the Russians, they just clobbered them. I mean, I think there was a time with the Russians didn't want to come out for the next period.
Milt was as much a part of the Sabres experience at the Odd as the national anthems and the popcorn. And now, in addition to being part of the Odd's history, he'll be an official part of the Sabres history, joining many of the names he called on the PA as he enters the team's Hall of Fame.
Scott, I can honestly say it never crossed my mind. It's something that's just beyond belief for me, and I'm extremely honored.
By next spring, the Odd will be just a memory. So before that happens, we asked Milt to take us back there one last time.
Ladies and gentlemen, the attendance for tonight's game was 16,433. The Sabres thank you for attending and ask that you drive carefully on the way home.
And who didn't hear that at the end of every Sabres game? Milt will be inducted into the Sabres Hall of Fame along with Dave Andrechuk just after Thanksgiving. The best player he ever saw, number 4, Boston's Bobby Orr. Milt's favorite Sabre, number 7, Rick Martin. Milt says he still gets recognized by Sabre fans today, not so much when they see him, but when they hear that voice. Scott Brown, Channel 2 News.
Yeah, the voice, as we say in the business, great set of pipes.
Yeah, he sure does. I got to agree with Bobby Orr, also my all-time favorite athlete of all time, and a great guy, too.
There you go. Well, tomorrow night, 2 on your side, will bring you more memories from the building that was the center of entertainment in Buffalo for decades.
Yeah, our Rich Kellman took a group of people inside the Odd recently to reminisce and to look back inside this downtown treasure. And you can see Rich's full report tomorrow night at 11 right here on Channel 2. Unfortunately, I never got to see a game there, but I hear from you and Kevin and Ed that it was really a great place to watch a hockey game.
Oh, yeah. Kevin's got a family connection to the Odd as well, aside from seeing so many games yourself,
My brother Terry was the most popular guy in the arena. He used to drive the ice. He drove the Zamboni.
Oh, everybody
And he had a nice little bag of pucks,
right.
and he threw them to the kids. I get the great honor this coming Saturday night. I hope you can join us. We're going to be down at the Convention Center, and I, along with Rene Robert and Rick Martin and Joe Perreault, are going to conduct the auction, as we say, Farewell Old Friend. That's coming up this Saturday night, and we're going to auction off some of those blue seats in the arena. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be a great weekend. Well, weather-wise, not such a great weekend. We're going to be talking about nice temperatures on Saturday, but I think with the cold air, we're going to be talking about lake effect snow coming on back, and it'll be here Sunday, and maybe for the Bills game on Monday Night Football. 41 degrees in Buffalo right now. We're into the low to mid-30s generally across many parts of our southern tier. 39 in Dunkirk, the Falls, Toronto, Hamilton, very popular number this evening. There's nothing in terms of precipitation on our radar screen, and tomorrow looks like we're going to be having another dry day, but after that, things are going to be rapidly changing. We've got high pressure that is off the New England coast, and it ridges all the way back to Ohio. That should give us a nice day tomorrow, not only in terms of temperatures, a bit warmer today, still a little bit below normal, but for the most part, we'll see some sunshine, and that may be the last time we see it for a while, as again, we've got some low pressure with a cold front that's making its way into the northeast. As we wipe the clouds away, you can see that stream of moisture moisture. Not very impressive right now, but again, with this system, we're talking about milder temperatures. So it will be all liquid when it begins. But it'll be on Sunday when things start to cool down that we may see the transition between the rain mixing with and then changing to snow. East winds tomorrow will be 5 to 10 miles an hour. We'll see a top number right around 48 degrees. And again, as Future Look times it out, a fairly quiet evening tonight. Some high-level clouds will be with us during the morning commute tomorrow. It's not going to be till later on in the evening that the clouds really start to thicken, and then the rain showers themselves will be arriving during the pre-dawn hours of Thursday. But once it starts, it's going to be here for the better part of the day. There may be a couple of dry periods, but not many. By about 11 o'clock in the morning, the yellow on the screen indicating that we may see a little bit more of a downpour from time to time. There's one of those dry slots we may experience early on Thursday evening, but again, it won't last very long, as again, much of this pattern is going to really envelop much of the Northeast over the next few days. 51 degrees will be our top temperature on Thursday, so we will enjoy a little bit of modified air. Winds will be out of the south 10 to 15 miles per hour. Then as we start to get towards the upcoming weekend, we'll be dealing with some real mild air. Friday, probably the warmest day of the week, 58 degrees. Saturday, we're going to be some on-again, off-again showers. We'll still be in the 50s, but yet another surge of colder air and some shifting winds will start to bring Lake Erie back into play. Its current temperature, 49. Lake Ontario, 51. So obviously the water warm enough to touch off some lake effect snow. No idea of amounts just yet, but of course, Storm Team 2 will keep you posted, and that lake effect band may in fact set up with temperatures only 41 on Monday and 38 on Tuesday. So I guess our Cleveland Browns fans are going to pretty much have the same Great Lake weather when they come on up here for the game on Monday night. If you need a forecast update, you can join us on our website at WGRZ.com on our weather link at 852-2222. Or if you have a handheld device or a cell phone and you want to put our weather right there in the palm of your hand, m.wgrz.com is the place to go. And of course, we've received a lot of pictures from the storm that we had, or at least the lake effect event last couple of days. That's kind of a Currier and Ives kind of look. Springville was one of those areas that picked up about 8 inches of snow. And again, a lot of that is melted now, but it's going to be coming back. And if you have a picture that you're proud of and you want to send it along, you can go to the website again. If you go to our photo gallery, we will let you know exactly how you can send that our way. So the good news, things are going to get a little bit warmer the next few days, but we're also going to have to get the umbrellas ready because we've got some rain starting on Thursday.
I think those beautiful wintry pictures are Mother Nature's way of compensating for the cold.
And the gray.
Yeah, to distract us from the pain.
That's right, just to kind of keep it in perspective.
Right, thanks, Kep.
You bet.
Well, you know, I can't remember the last time that we were talking about Turner Gill and the UB Bulls having such a huge game.
In fact, it was just about a year ago, and they flunked that test.
That's right, they did.
We'll tell you what test that is coming up for the Bulls. That's next in sports. Well, a very big college football game on tap Thursday night. If you haven't heard, UB at Akron. It's a battle for first place in the MAC's East Division. Now, the Bulls coming off an impressive 37-17 win over Miami of Ohio. That was exactly a week ago here. The victory was the Bills' third straight, and that puts them in a first-place tie with Akron in the MAC East at 3-2, UB 5-4 overall, and they can become bowl eligible with a win. Better yet, they would be in the driver's seat to win the East. Now, they were in this exact position last year, but couldn't close the deal.
We're a more experienced football team. We have more guys who have now played in those type of games. And so when that mindset, when you've done it before, like I told them, once you've done it, then there's no excuses.
And a healthy James Starks has really helped UB's resurgence. Thursday night's game will be seen nationally on ESPNU. Bills have the day off, and then tomorrow they start putting in the work on Monday night's meeting with the Cleveland Browns out at Ralph Wilson Stadium. Another team having some problems. Now, one of the Bills' top priorities against the Browns, that's to get that running game going. Bills haven't had any success at all in 3 straight losses to AFC East teams, and Fred Jackson tells our Stu Boyer the Bills are simply hurting themselves.
We feel like we're doing stuff to kind of step on our own toes, and it's what we feel like we've been doing all season long. So we just got to get it right. We got to figure out what it is, whether it is we go in and watch film individually and kind of be the harshest critics that we can be on ourselves so that we can get it going.
Well, if the run game gets going even a little bit, it might help open some passing lanes for Trent Edwards. If not, it could be another long night for the home team. I think they're going to bounce back this week, though. Check out this week's Sports Extra online at WGRZ.com. Yours truly, Adam Bonini, Stu Boyer, and Matt Pearl mix it up pretty good on the Bills-Patriots game and what it all means. Sabres back on home ice tomorrow night against the St. Louis Blues. Defenseman Teppo Newman back at practice today. He missed yesterday. The Sabres are pretty much at full strength for the first time all season. Now, in the state high school football regional playoffs this weekend, the unbeaten Sweet Home Panthers meet unbeaten Aquinas of Rochester. It's a rematch of their regional battle a year ago. Now, they meet Friday night, 8:30 kickoff at UB. Aquinas dominated Sweet Home 28-7 last year, and the Panthers haven't forgotten that.
It was pretty painful because we worked so hard to get there, and it all came to an end so fast. And they were a better team than us last year, and it was just a horrible feeling having to take the long bus ride home, so we don't want to do that again.
All right, and here you see Sweet Home. They practiced at Amherst today to get used to the similar turf that they'll be having the footing on out at UB on Friday night. And again, you can check out the webpage, WNY High School Sports, for all your information on the playoffs. And boy, it's going to be very interesting. Some real strong teams from Section 6 taking on the Section 5 teams this weekend.
It's been exciting this year, too. A lot of action.
Yeah, and the best is yet to come.
That's right. All right. Thanks, Eddie. Appreciate it.
You know, it will not be long before Christmas is here.
Right around the corner. Coming up next on Channel 2 News at 6, jolly old St. Nick is getting ready for lots and lots of letters. Oh, it's no secret, a dollar is not buying as much as it used to buy. Tonight, we're going to look at what Western New Yorkers are doing to cut costs as we continue our Ways to Save series. Join us on 2 on Your Side at 10 on My TV Buffalo and Channel 2 News tonight at 11 o'clock. Finally here tonight at 6 o'clock, Christmas may still be 6 weeks away, but Santa Claus and his helpers are gearing up for the thousands of letters that are sent to Santa Claus each and every year.
That's a big job, and Germany's post office for Santa is now open officially. Now, the branch in the small German village of Himmelport is expected to receive hundreds of thousands of letters addressed to Santa. Why, you ask? Himmelport is the official residence of Santa Claus in Germany. It's his summer home. Every year, the town's post office receives letters from children from all over the world.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
It's south of the pole, so, you know.
Santa Claus.
Right.
Yeah, there he is.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us for Channel 2 News at 6.
See you at 11.
Good night.
2 on Your Side News continues all the time at WGRZ.com. And when you're on the go to m.wgrz.com on your mobile device to get the latest news in Doppler.